Ladies and gentlemen, can I welcome you to the Rotary Club of Bridge of Allan and Dunblane's Burns Supper, to all our members and to our guests tonight. A special welcome to members from Stirling, Stirling, Alloa and Callander, and also to two of our welcome guests as well, who are back again, Charlie and his wife, who are here to learn all about Burns. So I hope you enjoy yourself tonight. I would also like to welcome our talk table, but very quickly, for those, Allan, who will be doing the toast to the lassies, Katrina, who is our singer tonight, Archie, who will be our main speaker and also doing some poems, and Mary, who will be doing the reply from the lassies. Anyway, Burns said, or I always thought Burns was a man who enjoyed himself, and I think these nights are for enjoyment. So all I'm going to say is please enjoy yourself tonight. Relax, let your hair down, and I know you're good at doing that, those who have some. I'm talking about the men, but have a good time and thoroughly enjoy it. If I could perhaps ask Gillian to say grace. Gillian.
I think it seemed to be stuck. I just wonder what Burns would make of how things have progressed. We're about to eat the typical Scottish fare of haggis and then steak pie. And when you think about how things have progressed, some places in our country have not really progressed very far in their tastes, what they like to eat. There's a story told of a man who got a phone call from his wife, just like Eddie's got a phone call.
Where's your violin?
Perfect timing. And this man got a phone call from his wife on the way home from work, and she said, could you pick up a couple of starfruit on your way home? So the man was driving through Bridgeton in Glasgow, and so he went into the greengrocers and he said, excuse me, do you have any starfruit? And the lady said, son, this is Bridgeton. We only get bananas 2 years ago. Another lady in Paisley saw this recipe and they needed kumquats in the recipe, so she went to her local supermarket and she said to the wee lady that was stacking the shelf, she said, do you have any kumquats here? And the lady said, this is Paisley. If they can't spell it, they don't eat it. Anyway, we're going to have some nice traditional fare, so let us give thanks with the sacred grace. Some who meet and can eat, and some would eat but want it, and we who meet and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked. Amen. Amen.
Piper, you'll have a drum.
Fair fall! Your honest, sonsy face. Please be seated. Great chieftain of the pun race, up in the maw ye take your place. Painch, tripe, or thirm. Well are ye worthy o' a grace as lang as my arm. The groaning trench are there ye foul. Your hurdies, you're like a distant howl. Your peen, it would help to mend the mill in time of need, while through your pores the dews distil like amber bead. His knife is here, his knife, see rustic labour dicht, and cut you up with any slick, trenching your gushing entrails bricht, and then, oh, what a glorious sight, lamb, reeking, British. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, they'll pack the hindmost on they drive, till all their wheel swell, excuse me, till all their wheel swell kites be alive, are bent like drums, and all Gidman mislike to arrive, he says, with thank it comes. Is there a French ragout, or olio, it would staw a sou, or fricassee, it would make ye spew with perfect scunner. They look down with sneering scornful view on sick a dinner. Poor devils, see them our trash, as feckless as a withered rash, through bloody flood or field to dash. Oh, how unfit! But mark, the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resound his tread, clapping his wally neva blade, he'll mak it whistle, and legs, and arms, and heats'll snag like taps of thistle. So your powers will mak mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. Old Scotland wants me skunking weather, it chaps and luggies. But if you wish her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to take your glasses and be upstanding and drink to the haggis? To the haggis.
We will start to recital Holy Willie's prayer. In Mauchline around 1780 there lived an old bachelor by the name of Willie Fisher. Now Willie Fisher was a hypocrite and a kirk elder. Not like anybody who thought his prerogative in life was to spy on the young courting couples and report them to the Holy Church.
You can take something for that, Colin.
He was undoubtedly the most feared and hated man in the village. He was, however, exposed when discovered dead in a ditch after a drunken session, only to be found with the kirk takings in his pocket. The next recitation, composed in 1785, was never published during Burns' lifetime, but it is how he imagined Willie Fisher at prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Holy Willie's prayer. I hope.
my name, Willie Fisher. People call me Holy Willie because I'm so pious. He's been celebrating that Robert Burns again. McConnell's went out. Drinkers, swearers, gamblers, fornicators. What's your name, son?
Willie.
You? Peter, isn't it?
Cartridge.
I tell you what, you better watch him, he'll nick your car keys. Here he is, Eddie Campbell, Mr. SNP. Organised a burn supper and spelt whiskey with an E.
Irish whiskey.
Are you sure? What's your name?
Don't tell him.
Just for tonight.
First or second? Wouldn't be my first choice either. If there's any traffic police in, it's apple juice. It just sells my nerves. Oh thou, oh in the heavens dost dwell, oh as it pleases best I sell, sends ain to heaven and 10 to hell, oh for thy glory, and no for ony good or ill they've done afore thee. I bless and praise thy matchless might, the thousands thou hast left in night, that I am here before thy sight, for gifts and grace, a burning and a shining light to all this place. Woe was I, or my generation, that I should get sic exaltation. I, what deserved me's just damnation for broken laws. 6,000 years of my creation, through Adam's cause. I'm free, my mother's womb I fell, thou might to plunge at me in hell, to gnash my goons and weep and wail and burning lake, where damn the devils roar and yell, chained to their stake. Yet I am here, a chosen sample, to show thy grace is great and ample. I am here, a pillar o' thy temple, strong as a rock, a guide, a buckler, an example to all thy flock. O Lord, thou kens what zeal I bear, when drinkers drink and swearers swear, singing here and dancing there with great and small. But I am keepit by thy fear, free frae them all. But yet, O Lord, confess I must, at times I'm fashed with fleshly lust, and sometimes too in worldly trust, vile self gets in. But thou remembers we are dust, defiled with sin. O Lord, yestreen thou kens we meg thy pardon I sincerely beg, and may it ne'er be a living plague to my dishonour, and I'll ne'er lift a lawless leg again upon her. Besides, a further maun allow, Willie's last 3 times a trow. But Lord, that Friday I was fou, and I come nearer, or else thou kens thy servant true would ne'er hae steered her. Maybe thou let's this fleshly thorn buffet thy servant e'en and morn, lest he our proud and high should turn that he's so gifted, if say thy horn maun e'en be born, until thou lifted. Lord, bless thy in this chosen place, for here thou hast a chosen race. But God confound their stubborn face and blast their name, or bring thy elders to disgrace and public shame. Lord, mind gone Hamilton's deserts. He drinks and swears and plays at courts. He has some money taken airts with great and small. For God's sake, priests at people's hearts he steals a law. And when we chasten him therefore, thou kens how he bred sick a splore and sent the world in a roar. Allah! And it is Curse now his basket and his store, kale and potatoes. Lord, hear thy earnest cry and prayer against thy presbytery o'er. Thou strong right hand, Lord, make it bear upon their heads. Lord, visit them and dinna spare for their misdeeds. O Lord my God, that glib tongue aching, my very heart and flesh are quaking, to think how we stood shaking, sweating, and peed with dread, while old with hanging lip and snaking held up his head. Lord, in thy day of vengeance try him. Lord, visit them what did employ him, and pass not on thy mercy by them, nor hear their prayer, but for the people's sake destroy them, and dinna spare. But Lord, remember me and thine, with mercies temporal and divine, that I for gifts and gear may shine, excelled by name, and all the glory shall be thine. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, after that, a song to cheer us all up. Our singer tonight is Katrina Lang, a Stirling lass who grew up in Stirling, was a member of the Stirling Junior Gaelic Choir, and has performed from 7 years old in gang shows round about Stirling. A member of the National Youth Choir of Scotland, touring in Sweden, Ireland and America, and was a soloist on 2 of their CDs. Won a scholarship to study singing at Birmingham Conservatoire, where she graduated after 6 years with a B.Hons Music and a postgraduate diploma. Taught singing in Coventry University and at a large successful stage school, gaining experience in performing opera and musical theatre. She has also performed as a soloist in the Stirling City Choir. To our good fortune, Katrina has decided to move back to Stirling and is here tonight, as she is looking to build her career again back here in teaching and in singing and in performing. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure she will be fabulous, and I give you Katrina, who is going to sing Caw the Yows.
What a build-up. Oh, the yows tail the nose, call them for the heather grass, call them o'er the burning rose, my bonny dearie. As I gazed on the
you very much, Katrina. That was absolutely fabulous. Everybody would agree with that. I look forward to some more later. And I'm sure the bar would be absolutely delighted that we sing his songs. Okay. Time to move on, and for something a little different. We're now going to do the toast to the lassies. And tonight, Allan Lee is going to do that. Allan, one of our newest members to the club, who, as I have to say, helped reduce the age profile below 85. Allan is an accomplished amateur operatic star and performer. I know this because he demonstrated it at his face-to-face to us. He has a degree in mathematics, and this was demonstrated when he was singing to the club, the way he is able to get the beat to work in to the songs. His rendition of Gilbert and Sullivan certainly gave us all a lot of pleasure. Born in Northumberland and coming to Scotland, first living in Livingston, don't know why, Allan, and then seeing the light and moving to Dunblane, where he and his wife Laura and 2 sons now reside. Can I ask Allan to give a toast to the lassies? Allan.
Yeah, the ring whilst the beastie warm up. Thompson? Technology works. Hurrah! Lucky me. I get to stand here and deliver a toast to the lasses. Indeed, a toast to the lasses. Oh, no. Got that wrong. A toast to the lasses. Except, this is the Rotary Club of Bridge of Allan and Dunblane. It doesn't feel quite appropriate. Ah, that's more like it. So let me introduce myself a little. I've had a fine introduction from Colin. Thank you very much, Colin. And indeed, my name is Allan Lee. And indeed, I am one of the newer members of the club. And it won't surprise you when you see all this stuff around about me, I'm an IT manager. And I know, ladies, what you're thinking. Ha! An IT manager, the image that calls to mind. Yes, that was it. Or maybe, actually, it might be more like this. Indeed. Or perhaps like this. Ah, if I only had his fortune. Let's go a little bit safer. I think we'll stick with a nice little image of an IT manager. I'm also a Rotarian. Hurrah! An image of a Rotarian to think about. Yes. Mr. Gates is also a Rotarian. Or maybe it might be a bit like this. Rotarians seem to get everywhere. Again, I think a little image might be a little safer. And I feel I'm perfectly qualified to give a toast to the lasses this evening, because of course I am a bloke.
Yay.
Yes, indeed, I am a bloke. And again, ladies, I know what you're thinking about when I say the word bloke. Or maybe it might be a little more like this. I think safest of all, perhaps a picture of myself. I'm duly introduced. And here's the great news. I am... Thank you very much. Indeed, it makes me proud. The Cross of St. George. The many, many grand monuments of such a fine nation. And the charismatic, refined, and above all, truly fair individuals that represent all that it is to be English. And indeed, I have the task of indeed praising womankind this evening. Well, that's easy. Those creatures of unrivalled beauty, of balanced viewpoint, and of gentle demeanour. Well, perhaps this might be a safer option, bearing in mind the subject matter of the evening. And I have to do this in front of, well, the great delight of a Scottish Rotary Club. With all that means, a Scottish Rotary Club. And I've got to do all this with a hearty dose of Robert Burns, an Englishman delivering Robert Burns. Well, it's quite a task, I have to say. Well, thanks, Colin, as a junior vice president, for inviting me. Thanks indeed. I'm on a quest this evening. I'm on a quest indeed. No. Not that kind of quest. I'm on a quest to understand and better the female of the species. That seems to be the task of the evening. So let me try and have a little look at this. And I thought I'd try to start by examining it from the perspective of information technology, my home subject. Perhaps my encounters with various software that I've encountered would help me. Let me tell you, I'm currently running the latest version of Girlfriend 5.0. And I have to tell you, I've been having some problems. I've been running the same version of my programme Drinking Buddies 2.0 for many years as my primary application, and all the girlfriend releases that I've met have always seemed to conflict with it. I hear that Drinking Buddies will crash if you won't crash if you minimise Girlfriend with the sound off, but since I can't find the switch to turn it off, I just run them separately. And it seems to work okay. Girlfriend also seems to have a problem coexisting with my other applications, Poker Night 10.3, Beer 3.4, and even tries to abort my favourite programme, Golf 4, with some sort of timing incompatibility. Dear, oh dear. I probably should have stayed with Girlfriend 1.0. But I thought I might see better performance with Girlfriend 2.0. After months of conflicts, I consulted a friend with experience with Girlfriend 2.0. He said I probably didn't have enough cash to run Girlfriend 2.0, and eventually I would require a token ring to run Girlfriend, and it would then perhaps run more properly. I have to say, he was right. As soon as I purged my cache, Girlfriend 2 uninstalled itself. Shortly after that, I installed Girlfriend 3.0 beta. All the bugs were supposed to be gone, but the first time I used it, it gave me a virus. After a hard drive clean-up and thorough virus scan, I very cautiously upgraded to Girlfriend 4.0. This time, I used a SCSI probe and I used virus protection. It worked okay for a while, until I discovered that sadly, Girlfriend 1.0 wasn't completely uninstalled. I tried to run Girlfriend 1.0 again with Girlfriend 4.0 and still installed, but it seems to come with an unadvertised feature that automatically senses the presence of other versions of Girlfriend and communicates with it in some way, resulting in immediate removal of both versions. The version I have now works pretty well. But, like all versions, there seem to be some problems. The Girlfriend package is written in some obscure language that I can't quite understand, much less reprogram. And I've never really liked how Girlfriend is totally object-orientated. A year ago, a friend upgraded his version to Girlfriend Plus 1.0, which I have to tell you is a terminate and stay resident package. He discovered Girlfriend Plus 1.0 expires within a year. If you don't upgrade, to Fiancé 1.0. So he did, but soon after that, you have to upgrade to Wife 1.0, which he describes as a huge resource hog. It's taken up all his space, so he can't load anything else. One of the primary reasons that he upgraded to Wife is because it came bundled with Free Sex 1.0. Well, it turns out the resource allocation module of Wife 1.0 routinely prohibits access to free sex. Particularly the new plug-and-play versions he was looking forward to. On top of that, Wife 1.0 must be run on a well-warmed-up system before she'll do anything more. And although he did not ask for it, Wife 1.0 came bundled with Mother-in-Law 2.0, which has an automatic pop-up feature that he doesn't seem to be able to turn off. I told him to install Mistress 1.1. But he said that he'd heard that if you try to run it without first uninstalling Wife, that Wife 1.0 will delete all his MS Money files before uninstalling itself. Oh, then Mistress 1.1 won't install anyway due to insufficient resources. Oh, I have to tell you, I'm completely and utterly confused. There we go. Now, I thought I'd take a little detour. Having had such a strong build-up, I thought I'd take a detour into trying to understand again the perspective of the lad and the lass. And so I thought, I'll do this just so that I can basically sing you a song. Now, indeed, the lad and the lass. Burns, of course, slightly different version of Master of the House was his favourite. Indeed, one suspects the keeper of his favourite second hobby, after the ladies, of course. So with apologies to Herbert Kretzmer, who's the original English lyricist of this, I'll sing you a little song. Master of the house, quick to catch your eye, never wants a passerby to pass him by. Servant to the wife, buckler to the great, comforter, philosopher and lifelong mate. Every girl's boon companion, makes a cracking chaperone. I do whatever pleases, 'cause she's always on the flipping phone. However, the ladies may have a slightly different perspective on the subject, as indicated by Madame Thénardier.
I used to dream that I would meet a prince, but God Almighty ever seen what's happened since. Master of the house isn't worth his pick, comforter, philosopher and lifelong chick. Cunning little brain, regular Voltaire, thinks he's quite a lover, but there's not much there. What a cruel trick of nature, landing me with such a louse. Gold and never blasting, living with his bastard in the house. Master of the house, master of the home, comforter, philosopher, make the love. Servant to the poor, brother to the great, hypocrite and tongue, the inebriate. Everybody bless the landlord, everybody bless his spouse.
Everybody raise a glass!
Raise it up, the master.
Everybody raise a glass to the master of the house.
Indeed, Madame Thénardier. I think that perhaps illuminates a slight difference in perspective. I thought I'd move on just to considering a little bit more about womankind and trying to understand the words they use, trying to understand through the things they say quite what might be going on. So perhaps we'll have a look at this. Now, some of the words that women use, let me start by using this one.
Fine.
Fine. This seems to be a word that women use to end an argument when they feel they're right, and you need to shut up, gentlemen. Never use fine to describe how a woman looks. This will cause you to have an argument that ends in fine.
5 minutes.
Now, 5 minutes. This, of course, is half an hour. It's equivalent to the 5 minutes, gentlemen, that it takes for the football game to last before you put the rubbish out. So I guess it's basically an even trade.
Nothing.
This seems to mean something. And you should be on your toes, gentlemen. Nothing is usually used to describe the feeling a woman has of wanting to turn you inside out, upside down and backwards. Nothing usually signifies an argument that will last.
5 minutes.
Indeed. And will probably end with...
Fine.
The next one I think I should warn you about is this one.
Go ahead.
With raised eyebrows. This, gentleman, is a dare. One that will result in a woman getting upset over...
Nothing.
And will probably end with the word...
Fine.
Yes.
Whatever.
Whatever. Yes, this means I give up. Or seems to mean I give up. Or do what you want because I don't care anymore. You'll get a...
Go ahead.
Indeed. In just a few minutes. Followed by a...
Nothing.
And...
5 minutes.
Yes, fine. And she'll talk to you in about 5 minutes when she cools off. Ah, this one's a little complicated. A little quiet as well. This would normally be a loud sigh. It's not actually a word, but a non-verbal statement, gentlemen. Often misunderstood by us. A loud sigh means she thinks you're an idiot at the moment and wonders why she's wasting her time standing here and arguing with you over...
Nothing.
Nothing. Yes.
Oh.
Ah, a soft sigh. Again, not a word, but a non-verbal statement. Gentlemen, soft sighs mean that she is content. Your best bet, gents, is not to move or breathe, and perhaps she might stay content.
That's okay.
Oh, that's okay. This is one of the most dangerous statements that a woman can make to a man. That's okay means that she wants to think long and hard before paying you back for whatever it is you've done. That's okay is often used with the word
Fine.
and in conjunction sometimes with a raised eyebrow.
If you want.
If you want, at some point in the near future, you're going to be in some mighty big trouble.
Please do.
This isn't a statement, it's an offer. A woman's giving you a chance to come up with whatever excuse or reason you have for doing whatever it is you've done. You have a fair chance with the truth. And you shouldn't get a...
That's okay. Thanks.
A woman is thanking you. Gentlemen, do not faint. Just say, you're welcome. However...
Thanks a lot.
This is rather different from thanks. A woman will say thanks a lot when she's really ticked off with you. It signifies that you've offended her in some callous way and will be followed by a loud sigh. Be careful not to ask what is wrong after the loud sigh. I shall only tell you...
Nothing.
Nothing. Gentlemen, I don't know if it helps you. To be honest, it just confuses me further. Finally, I decided that, having faced all that lot, and in despair, I would hunt through Rabbie Burns to see if I could find any usefulness in Rabbie Burns. And to my delight, I discovered that Rabbie Burns has an interest in IT. Isn't that marvellous, thought I? And not only that, but in connection with a woman in his life. IT isn't a Jean. Well, I guess... maybe I'm not too surprised it wasn't Jean who was interested in IT. However, perhaps if I reveal the rest of the title, you might understand that IT is not IT. It is now Jean by Boniface. And I thought, gentlemen, perhaps this would illuminate the last piece of the jigsaw that I was looking for. It is now Jean by Boniface, nor shape that I admire, although thy beauty and thy grace might well awake desire, something in ilka part of thee, to praise, to love, I find. But dearer is thy form to me, still dearer is thy mind. Me mair ungenerous wish I, nor stronger in my breast, than if I canna make thee say, at least to see thee bless. Content am I, if heaven shall give, but happiness to thee. And as with thee I wish to live, for thee I bear to thee. And imagine my delight, my absolute joy, when I discovered that Rabbie Burns nicked it from an English poem. I have to say, I think he was right. And I think for all our male confusion about womankind, we would all want to see thee blessed. And as such, gentlemen, if you'll be upstanding, I would like to propose a toast to the lasses.
Thank you, Allan. I think we have all learned something tonight. We know to tread warily as we go home. Another song. Katrina will now sing for us Whistle and I Will Come to You.
And I'll come to you, my lad, though father and mother and all should give mad. Oh, whistle, and I'll come to you, my lad. But we're a lated when ye come to for me, and come me unless the back yet be a G. Sign up the back style and let nobody see. And come as you were, now come into me, and come as you were, now come into me. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Though father and mother and all should get mad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. At Kirk or at market when there you met me, gang by me as though that you cared me a flea. But steal me a blink o' your bonny blackie. Yet look as you were, now looking at me. Yet look as you were, now looking at me. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Though father and mother and all should get mad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. I vow and protest that you care not for me, and while you will leave my beauty away, but courtney and nether thou joking ye be, for fear that she wile your fancy frae me, for fear that she wile your fancy frae me. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad. Though father and mother and all should get mad. Oh, whistle and I'll come to you, my lad.
Thank you very much, Katrina. Yet another beautiful song. Now, the turn of the lassies to get their own back in us men. We look to Mary Fraser to talk very kindly about us gentlemen, as I am sure she will. Mary, who is the daughter of a banker, not related to Sir Fred, I'm happy to say, so we'll forgive her for that. Mary is our very own trolley dolly, who started life as an air hostess, but then went into nursing. Graduating and coming up to Scotland and setting up her own practice advising the National Health Service, and especially in Forth Valley in research and development and helping them develop nursing practices throughout central Scotland. She's also been a part-time lecturer at Strathclyde University and has had quite a career and very fulsome in actually the community and helping in nursing. She tells me she's charmed by the warmth and friendship and the sense of fun being a member of this Rotary Club. Do not be taken in by the soft, laid-back approach approach. Mary has a tough inner core and determined to make her point. Mary, a reply from the lassies.
Thank you very much, Colin, for that really kind introduction. Lasses, you could only love the guys, couldn't you? What else could you do with them? So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you into a secret. Since I've been a member of this club, the fellows have been trying to teach me how to be outrageous. Now, it's been a hard job, and they've been really patient with me. And it's been a really hard struggle, but I'm here this evening to tell you how they went about it. And also, so that you can see for yourself the results of what I've learned. So this is the story of how the Bridge of Allan and Dunblane Rotary Club have taught me how to be outrageous. Graham Russell started it all. When I told him that I'd been asked way back to do this reply from the lasses, he told me I could be as outrageous as I liked. As outrageous as I liked? What? Outrageous? But I don't know how to be. But maybe I can learn. Now, who am I going to ask if I'm going to learn how to do that? Well, maybe I'd better go back to the person who asked me in the first place. So, Colin Strachan, can you please teach me how to be outrageous? And I knew, from that little wicked smile and that little chortle of laughter, that he could be outrageous. And if it was that much fun, I wanted to be able to do it as well. So that encouraged me. So who else can I ask? I know, I'll ask our dear President Rod. So Rod, can you tell me how to be outrageous so I can give a good reply from the lasses? And he gave me that old-fashioned look, and he stroked his chin. And he said, "You could say grace. For what we are about to receive, may the Lord give us strength to recover." Oh, thank you, Rod, that's perfect. But there must be somebody else I can ask as well. I know, I'll ask Ian Smith. So Ian, can you help me to be outrageous? And he smiled at me and he said, "You could tell a joke." Katrina, a pretty young lass, had a truly magnificent ass. Not rounded and pink as you're beginning to think, but grey with long ears and ate grass. Oh, thank you, Ian, that's perfect. And then there was Laurie Orr. Oh, he was so sweet. Without waiting to be asked, once he'd heard what this was all about, he rushed up to me and he said, "Have you heard this one?" The boy stood on the burning bridge. His legs were all a-quiver. He coughed, one leg dropped off and floated down the river. Oh, that's perfect, Laurie. Thank you very much. So, lads and lasses, you can now see that the senior members of our august committee have encouraged and taught me how to be outrageous. It's been a hard job, but somebody had to do it. So I hope that you feel that I've now achieved the goals, and I hope the lasses will join with me in a toast to the lads. To the lads.
Thank you, Mary, and we look for many outrageous years to come. And And now for another song. With Katrina, this time a Gaelic song, which Katrina will introduce.
This is a Gaelic lament in which a woman is mourning the loss of her husband who has been beheaded. The chorus sort of is the sounds of mourning.
Katrina. It's actually nice to hear something a bit different and actually hear our own sort of native language. Normally at this club on a Thursday night we actually hear Welsh, which we all struggle to
More to come.
Right, we're on to our principal speaker tonight, who is going to give the immortal memory, Archie Meikle. Archie was born in the mining village of Livingston Station, West Lothian, and attended Dean's Primary School and Blackburn Academy, where in the school yearbook he was voted the most likely person to appear in Crime Watch. A keen athlete in his youth and early 20s, he regularly competed in the 1600 metres events as a professional runner on a Highland Games circuit. His training programme of running 2 miles every morning meant by the end of the week he was far enough away to no longer a nuisance to be his mother. On leaving school, he served his apprenticeship as a joiner. It was during this period that he was involved in an accident that was fully reported in the national press. Yes, while he was working with a nail gun, he accidentally shot himself in the head. Despite such a horrific injury, he felt absolutely no pain whatsoever. He was later reported as saying, "I didn't realise there was a problem until I tried to take my safety hat off." On a more serious note, aged 21, Archie started his own business and has never looked back. Besides holding senior board positions with several respected construction companies, he is also the founding director of the highly successful and award-winning Ashwood Scotland Limited. Held in high regard for his charity work, he was a member of the fundraising committee who were asked to raise £250,000 to provide a day centre for Macmillan support at St John Hospital in Livingston. And from 1994 to 2007, he single-handedly organised an annual charity burn supper, raising in excess of £45,000 over the period to support various West Lothian-based charities. 4 years ago, he and his fellow directors set up Ashwood Scotland Foundation, which is funded by a percentage of the company's profits, and along with various fundraising events, have to date raised in excess of £80,000 to assist a wide range of worthwhile projects in the area. He is actively involved with the schools in West Lothian, most notably the mock interview programme, which helps prepare school leavers for attending a real-life interview. He also sits on the Board of Governors of West Lothian College. Despite all this, he has time for a teenage daughter. Enjoys football, although I don't know how you can actually say that, Archie, seeing as I know the team you support. And is a member of Kirkhill Golf Club, where the professional has described him as a shanker with an abundance of wit. To top off all this, he has been interested in the life and works of Robert Burns, performing at over 220 Burns suppers over the past 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Archie Meeker.
Well, Mr. Chairman, first of all, sir, may I thank you for the warmth, cordiality, sincerity and indeed generosity of your hospitality here this evening, which if I'd known was going to be this good, I would have brought the car. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I have had the great privilege of being able to sit at the top table at many's a burn supper, and during the last several years I've met some very interesting people indeed, and tonight's no exception. Been sitting next to Mary Fraser this evening, listening to her, telling me her stories about when she was in the health service and involved in healthcare. I've listened to Allan telling me about his work in ICI. But ladies and gentlemen, the best part has been listening to your chairman this evening eating his soup. Being the burn supper season, as you can imagine, is rather hectic, and this week has been no exception. On Tuesday night I attended Inverness Alcoholics Anonymous Burn Supper, where we were served with copious amounts of refreshment. Yes, there was orange juice, Coca-Cola, sparkling water, pineapple juice. And while travelling home, I was stopped by none other than one of the Northern Constabulary's finest WPCs. And as she approached the car, she put her head through the window, which was rather inconvenient as it cost me 150 quid. And she said to me, "Excuse me, sir, have you been drinking?" I said, "Officer, I just returned from the Alcoholics Anonymous Burn Supper, and not one drop has passed my lips." She said, "Well, sir, we've been following you for the last 2 miles and your car has been out of the road. We need you to stop out and take a breath test." Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can imagine, when I opened the door it was pitch black, and as I stepped out I never noticed this rut in the road, and as I got out I lost my balance. And at that point she shone her torch in my face and said, "Sir, you're staggering." I said, "Darling, you're not so bad looking." She says to me, "You're a bit fast. I reckon you're hard on tyres." I said, "I'll bet you 50 quid it doesn't, eh?" And last night, I'm a bit slow here, Chairman. And last night I attended the National Hemorrhoid Society's annual burn supper. And I have to tell you, there wasn't a lot of laughs. But I did receive a standing ovation. Legend has it that an old spaewife had predicted the path with which Robert Burns' life would take, and having been told of the encounter by his father, he wrote the following: "The gossip keeked in his loof, quoth she who lives will see the proof. This wally boy will be nae couth, I think we'll call him Robin. He'll hae misfortunes great and small, but I a heart to win them all. He'll be a credit to us all, we'll all be proud o' Robin." How true her words turned out to be. Born into a clay bigging on the 25th day of January 1759, Robert Burns' misfortunes began almost immediately after his birth, when a severe storm damaged the house so badly that his mother Agnes Brown was forced to take him to live with neighbours until such times as repairs could be effected. Such was the start to a life which was destined to scale the depths of despair and heights that are only achieved by the truly great. However, Robert Burns was fortunate in some respects. He had parents of exceptional quality. His father, William Burness, who was a strictly religious, God-fearing man, was totally dedicated to the education of his family from an early age, beginning to teach them about the Bible and of nature. This soon expanded to arithmetic, history, geography and astronomy. His mother Agnes Brown had a great flair for music and poetry, and there is no doubt that it was from her his poetic talent sprung. However, it wasn't long before William Burness reached his limits as a teacher, so he got some neighbours to join him in hiring the tutor John Murdoch to teach at Allway Mill. Unfortunately, and due to the financial circumstances at the time, some of the parents withdrew their funding and John Murdoch had to move and take up another appointment. John Murdoch later said of William Burness that he was the finest of the human race that he had ever been acquainted with, and of Agnes Brown that she had the most thorough esteem of her husband of any woman he had known. Another source of learning for Burns appeared in the form of Betty Davidson, an elder cousin who was reputed to have the finest collection in the country of tales and songs relating to deils, ghosts, witches, warlocks, elf candles, deadlights and apparitions. and there can be no doubt that her influence contributed greatly to some of his works, none more so than his incomparable Tam O'Shanter. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip's light, each in his cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the Hayley table a murderer's banes and gibbet airums, twa span lang wee and crescent bairns, a thief new cut it for a rate wi' his last garb, his garb did gape, 5 tomahawks wi' blood red rusted, 5 scimitars wi' murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled. Burns' own contribution to this strange tapestry of education was that he possessed an extraordinary ability to soak up information like a sponge, digest it, and then communicate his findings in a way no other writer could. It is only this amazing ability which Burns possessed which can account for his extraordinary knowledge of so many subjects and aspects of life. How many of us here tonight, for instance, could have penned such a verse as "Is there that our is French ragout, or olio that would stow a sou, or fricassee would make a spew with perfect stunner? Looks doon, with sneer and scorn for view and sick a dinner." Yet, Robert Burns not only knew of these French culinary delights, he could fit them into verse as well in the midst of a Scottish address. Even more amazing was Burns' occasional sojourn into Latin. In his satirical poem Death and Dr. Hornbook he writes, "Calces of fossils, earths and trees, true sal marinum o' the seas, the farinee o' beans and peas he hast in plenty. Aqua fontis, what you please, he can content ye. For by some new uncommon weapons, Uranus spiritus of capons, or micehorn shavings, filings, scrapings, distilled per se sal alkali midge-tail clippings, and money may." What an extraordinary flair for descriptive verse, and all this from a man whose first biographer described as being uneducated and a drunkard. But ladies and gentlemen, I would put it to you that he either hadn't read his works properly or was incapable of understanding them. Burns has since been put under the microscope more than any other literary figure in history, and we are still baffled today as to how he did what he did. The easy answer, of course, was that he was undoubtedly a genius who had an awareness and sensibility beyond our comprehension. His great love for all God's creatures and for humanity in general is an all-embracing love. And yet, there is one aspect of his work which I personally find intriguing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I speak of his satirical poems. These undoubtedly began following the death of his father, whom Burns respected immensely. His father had died a broken man amidst a tragic case of litigation brought on by a cruel factor. Immediately after his father's death, a bitterness appeared in Burns' writings when he penned the famous lines, "Man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn." Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to pause for a few moments, consider those words, and apply them to modern day living. The horrors of the Holocaust during the Second World War, the terrible atrocities as witnessed at 9/11, the continuing unrest in the Middle East and the modern craze of the suicide bomber. And let's not forget the many heinous and barbaric acts of cruelty reported in the media on an almost daily basis within their own communities. Man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn. In the same poem, Burns questioned the doctrine of predestination which was prevalent at that time by writing, "If I'm designed yon lording slave, by nature's law designed, why was an independent wish ere planted in my mind. And he again depicted the same factor in his poem, The Twa Dugs, when he wrote, his locket lettered braw brass collar showed him the gentleman and scholar, although he was a high degree, the faint of pride, nae pride had he, leaving no one in any doubt about his feelings for the privileged few who inherited wealth and titles. The bitterness that had set him on the course of satirical writing, however, soon subsided, but Burns by this time realised the power of his pen, and he carried on using that power to right the wrongs in society. His great dislike for hypocrites, for instance, was clearly displayed when he exposed the wrongdoings of the troublesome Willie Fisher in his brilliantly funny satire, Holy Willie's Prayer. O thou, when the heavens dost dwell, what it pleases best I sell, send ane to heaven and 10 to hell. Oh, for thy glory. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this poem is perhaps the most brilliant assault ever delivered against the practical bigotry of the Kirk. And I stress, ladies and gentlemen, that this was an attack against bigotry and hypocrisy, as you will never find in any of Robert Burns' works a single word against a belief in God. Indeed, not only was Robert Burns well versed in the Bible, he also read John Stackhouse's The History of the Bible, a publication his father paid for by subscription, which set the scriptural text in its wider historical context. And indeed, Robert Burns' works are littered with biblical reference. Next to receive a severe jolt from his scathing pen was John Molson, the apothecary, who, with his fancy medicines, was responsible for many a premature death. It is said that Burns and Molson got into a medical argument one evening in Turbolton, due mainly to Molson parading his therapeutics so offensively. On his way back to Mauchline, and it would appear in a fit of rage, Burns penned, in my opinion, his most brilliant satire of all, Death in Dr. Hornbook, which was undoubtedly the catalyst that eventually stopped Wilson in his tracks, and 5 years later he moved up to Glasgow, where he took up the post as session clerk in the Gorbals. He had intended taking up a poorly paid position as a typesetter. However, a carefully worded letter from Burns to Wilson's wife urged him to reconsider, as the only victims in such a situation would have been Wilson's children. There were, of course, some things in life which could not be corrected, which Burns observed only as he could. Instances where our lifestyles conflicted with nature, instances which hurt Robert Burns' sensitive heart. We sleek at cool and timorous beastie. Oh, what panic's in thy breastie? Thou needna start away so hasty wi' bicker and rattle. I would be loath to run and chase thee with murder and battle. I'm truly sorry that man's dominion has broken nature's social union and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at thee, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. That was his immediate response when turning over a mouse's nest on that cold November day in 1785. And then the following spring he again felt the cruel inevitability of life on noticing a mountain daisy being crushed. We, modest crimson tippet flower, thou'st met me in an evil hour, and I mun crush among the stour thy slender stem. To spare thee now is past my power, my bonny gem. In the latter years of Burns' life, one cannot but wonder if the bard had some premonition of his early exit from his earthly abode, because he set about a task of putting in print some 300 songs, most of which he wrote from scratch and others he had refurbished. because he knew that a nation without song was a nation without soul. And a nation without soul is undoubtedly a nation without identity. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like the melody that sweetly plays the tune, till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt wi' the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands o' life shall run. And on the supreme love of his life, Jean Armour, he writes, of all the airts the wind can blaw, I dearly lue the west. There's not a bonny flower that springs by fountain, shaw or green. There's not a bonny bird that sings, but minds me, o my Jean. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest love song ever written. A fond kiss and then we sever, a farewell and then forever. Deep in hearth wrung tears I'll wage thee, warring sighs and groans I'll pledge thee. I'll ne'er blame my partial fancy, Nathan could resist my Nancy, but to see her was to love her, love but her, and love forever. Written on leaving Agnes McElhose, or Nancy as she was known, for the last time in December 1791. Indeed, in Nancy's diary, some 40 years later, on the 6th of December 1831, she wrote, "This day I can never forget, parted with Burns in the year 1791, never more to meet in this world, oh may we meet in heaven." Love songs, written about love, with every pore in every line of every verse, oozing the emotions of love. And let's not forget, he also gave us a world anthem which is now sung worldwide at the end of gatherings. We twae hae paddled in the burn, frae morning sun till dine, but seas between us braid hae roared sin auld lang syne. And there's a hond, my trusty fair, and gie's a hond o' thine, and we'll tak a right good wally wat for auld lang syne. How proud he would have been to have known this, because Robert Burns undoubtedly saw a glorious vision of international brotherhood, and proof of this lies in his words. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will, for all that sense and worth or all the earth shall bear the gree and all that, for all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that man to man, the world o'er, shall brothers be for all that. I wonder. At 5 o'clock in the morning, on the 21st day of July 1796, at the age of 37 years, Burns came out of his delirium, and the children were brought in to look upon him for the last time. And as he stood round the bed, he sank calmly into his last repose. His last words were something about a bill he owed a tailor. And as they laid him in the grave, another son was born to Mistress Burns. She called him Maxwell, after the young doctor who had cared for the poet, just as Burns had wanted. More than 10,000 people from far and near lined the streets for his funeral. It was the largest crowd ever seen in that town, and as the cortege passed on its way to St Michael's churchyard, and the rain began to fall, no one moved from those gathered solemnly to watch, and the sky darkened, and neither from man, woman, child or dog was a single sound to be heard. The volunteer militia fired the salute over the graveside. and nearly killed the minister. An honest man has nothing to fear, even granted he has been the sport of his own instincts. He goes to a God who gave him these, and well knows their force. And what God knows, God will forgive. Oh, no doubt I will have much to answer. If my philosophy was simple enough, whatever mitigates the woes or increases the happiness of others to whatsoever extent, then let that be my criterion of goodness. Whatever injures society as a whole or any one person in it, then let that be my measure of iniquity. And if I could, I would wipe all tears from all eyes. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, as I bring this immortal memory to a conclusion, I would thank you for your very, very kind attention. This is undoubtedly the proudest toast for any Scot to propose, but equally, and I am sure you'll agree, it is also the proudest toast for any Scot to drink, as it recalls surely the greatest Scot of all time. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to fill your glass. I fill them to the brim.
Ladies and gentlemen, Archie has very kindly offered to do one more recital before we finish tonight. And he will do Tam O'Shanter, I believe, with all the props and accoutrement, as he has told me. So we'd like to hear Tam O'Shanter before we finish and hear Rod. I'm trying to put Rod off for a while. I would ask Archie if he could give us one more recital.
Well, just to put the record straight, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't offer, I was coerced. If anyone knows. It certainly makes you work for your supper. Burns made a request to Captain Francis Gross that he should make a drawing of Alloway Kirk, as it was the birthplace of his father. Gross agreed, but on the condition that Burns provide a witch tale. Burns duly obliged and subsequently produced the following. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to settle down, charge your glasses, fasten your seatbelts for the greatest narrative poem of all time, Tam O'Shanter. When Chapman Billies leave the street and Ruthie neighbours meet, as market days are being late and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy, getting through and unca happy, we think na the lang Scots miles, the Mosses waters, slaps and styles, that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky sullen dame, rather nor browse like a gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth fund honest Tam O'Shanter, as he the airy rifted canter, all there when the tune surpasses, for honest men and bonny lassies. O Tam, had thou but been so wise as to nine wife Kate's advice, she told the wheel there was a skellum of leather and bluster and drunken blellum, that frae November to October, market day there was nae sober. The welcome elder wi' the miller, thou sat as lang as thou had siller, that every nag was cad a shoe on, the smith and thee got roaring full on. Even at the Lord's house on Sunday, thou drank with Captain Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon there would be fun deep drooned and doon, or catch wi' warlocks in the muck, in Alloway's old haunted kirk. A gentle dames it gars me greet, to think how many counsel sweet, how many lengthened sage advises, the husband for the wife despises. But to our tale. High market night. Tam had got planted on right, fast by an ingle bleezing finely, with Riemann swats it drank divinely, and at his elbow suitor Johnny, his ancient trusty Ruthie Crony. Tam lewed him like a very brother, and they'd been through for weeks together. The next day on with sounds and clatter, and aye the ale was getting better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with secret favours, sweet and precious. The suitor told the squeerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. Ha 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 ha! The storm without might rain and rustle. Tam didn't mind the storm of whistle. Care mad to see a man sae happy, he'en drown himsel among the nappy. As bees flee hame, my lads are treasure, the minutes wind their ways with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, you seize a flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white then melts forever. Or like the borealis race that flitter, you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, it vanishing amid the storm. No man can tether time nor tide, the hour approaches, Tam on ride. He mounts back the keystone, that weary hour he mounts his beastin, and sick a neck he takes the road in, as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew 'twas blawing its last, the rattling storm roared in the blast, the speedy gleamed, the darkness swallowed, now deep and rang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hands. Well mounted on his grey mare nag, a better never lifted leg, Tam scalp it on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning oh some old Scotch sonnet, was towering round with prudent care, lest bogles catch him unaware. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where geese and hoorits nightly cry. By this time it was across the ford, where in the snow the chapman smoored, and past the birks and Nicholstane where drunken Charlie broke snake drain, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn abun the well, where Mungo's mother hanged herself. Before him, doon pours all his floods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunders roll, when glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou has made us scorn. We tippenny, we fear nae evil, we ooskaba will face the deal. The swatsy round and Tammy's noodle, fair play, he cared nae deals of bodle. But Maggie stood, richly astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward in the light. Wow! Tam saw an unca sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance. Nae cotillion brent you for France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathblazing reels, put life and metal in their heels. A winnet bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape of beast, a towty tyke, black, grim and large, to give them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gart them skirl, till roof and rafters, o de dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip's light, each in his cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbet airms, twa span lang, wee and crescent bairns, a thief new cutted for a rate with his last gasp, his garbed gape, 5 tomahawks with lip blood red rusted, 5 stimiters with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a feather throat had mangled, whom his ain son a life bereft, the grey hairs yet stacked to the head, with mair horrible and awful, which even to name would be unlawful. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancer quick and quicker flew, the reel, the set, the cross to cricket, till ilka carl and swat and reek it, and cooshed their duddies to the wark and link it at it in her sark. O Tam, had they been queens, o plump and strapping in their teens, their sarks and steady creasy flan and being snow white 1700 linen, these breeks of mine my only pair, that yins were plush a good blue hair. I would have given them off my hardies, for a blanket of bonny birdies. But withered beldams, old and droll, rigwoody hags would speen a foal, louping and flinging in a crummock, wonder did they turn high stock. But Sam ken what was what poor brolly. There was when some wench in Wally that night enlisted on the corps, long after kenned in Carrick shore, for money a beast did head she shot and perished money's a bonny boat, and shoot bake meikle corn and beer, and left the countryside in fear. Her cutty's heart a paisley hand, which is a lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was her best and she was vaunty. A little kenned thy reverend granny, that's Archie quoth wi' her wee nanny, with twop unscotched was all her riches, would ever grace a dance of witches. But hear my news, her went man poor. 6 flights I had beyond her power, to sing how Nanny lapping flying, as tuples yet she wasn't strang, and how Tam stood like in bewitched, and thought he's very e'en and rich. Even Satan glowered, and fitch flew fain, and hopped and blew wi' might and main, till first he caper sign another. Tam tent his reason altogether, and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant, all was dark. Then scarcely had Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees bezoot in angry fight, when plundering herds assail their fight, as open pussies mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when catch the thief resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, with monies and eldrick screech and hollow. A tam, you'll get your fern, and hell they'll roast you like a hern. And vain the Kate awaits her coming, Kate soon will be a lawful woman. Now do thy speed the utmost peg, and when the keystane out the brig, whichever the keystane she could make, a faint a tail she had to shake. For Manny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and threw it Tam with furious settle. But little was she Maggie's mettle, a spring brought off her master hail, and left behind her ain grey tail. The carling clocked her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now, o' this tale of truth shall read. Ilk man and mother son take heed. Whene'er to drink you are inclined, a Cutty Sark's run in your mind. Think you may buy the joys o' a dear. Remember, Tam a Shanter's mare. Thank you.
Thank you, Archie, and if I could just ask you, make sure the horse gets a good drink tonight. Need it. Ladies and gentlemen, we draw to a conclusion. If I could ask our President Rod to deliver a vote of thanks. Rod.
Thank you, Colin. Well, how do you follow that? I shan't. Great. Have we had a good night? Yes. Super night. Well done. Doesn't just happen like that. A lot of organisation's gone into it. Thanks to everyone for doing that. Now, I was down in Wales at the weekend for the Carnarvon Film Society, and a new work has been found, written some 220 odd years ago, on which I think addressed to a haggis was based. Obviously this was in Burns's Welsh patch. So, fair Chairman Collins' jolly face, Vice President of this very place, above them all you took your place to introduce and entertain. Well are you worthy of a grace, as long as you reign. For our grace we turned to Jill, delivered to us with utmost skill. Her words did thoughts instill at time of need. Before we consumed our fill, her words we all did heed. His knife sick rustic labour dicht, Laurie was an amazing sight. His words rhyming through the night, our evening to enrich. And then, oh what a glorious sight, warm haggis, steaming rich. Course on course, Eve's fair had us thrive, cockaleeky, pie and neeps she did contrive, till all our well-swollen bellies by and by were bent like drums. Then old master of the house, most like to burst, the grace hums. Archie to the bard gave praise, reading of his fine essays. His love and life replays. With perfect manner, a fine picture of Willie portrays at such a dinner. Do you remember this was written 220 years ago? Catriona cheered us with her singing. Gregor's lament had our hearts aching, and he lost his head for losing. And with the shepherd, our lassie met the river, wimpling. Oh, how he flattered. But Mark, the rustic, Allan Lee fair read, the qualities of lassies was what he said. All his tales were most amusing, and all of us were quite gleeful, made to reflect on our courting, reminding that lassies are a man's idol. Mary spoke of man's shortcomings and how they pull a lassie's heartstrings, whilst making them count their blessings. Piper Paul had set the scene. Pipe set the room a-skirling, and our party he did convene. So now our entertainment's over, and we have all enjoyed our dinner. We have all had good banter. So join me in a big thank you to all that I've mentioned and any other. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and just echo Rod's word. I hope our guests enjoyed it tonight. I hope, Liz and Charlie, you have now sampled the world of Burns and will come back for more. I hope you understood it. That was maybe more to the point at the end of the day. I hope you'll all be back next year as well. Next year will prove to be something quite different. We're going to have an Aussie Burns night. I know this because it's an Aussie who's organising it. Our Peter. So, Barbie Haggis.
Let me write this down.
With a few cans, it's going to be fun.
No worries, mate.
I would just like to thank all my guests, and particularly Katrina and Archie, for coming along tonight. I thought they were excellent tonight, and we had a really good night. I always think Robert Burns looked to enjoyment, having fun, and having a good night. I think tonight we've laughed, we've had fellowship, and we've learned. And you can't ask for much more than that. But we'd just like to finish off by singing Old Lang Syne, and then I will wish you all safe journey. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to join me in Old Lang Syne. Running around this side. That's all right. Yeah. Well, what you do, if you're interested, smile, and I will get whoever it is, I'll get